5, 4, 3.
Hello there, and welcome to the Evergreen Evening News today on the Green Channel. The breaking story of today is the freshwater crisis happening in the USA. Studies shown from globalchange.edu acquired on December 1st, 2014 that 2.5% of water is freshwater, and 70% of that is frozen in the polar ice caps. Let's face it, America, we all use and consume water. And our team has done extensive research on this ongoing issue. The fresh water is a current issue we are facing, and we are seeking to spread awareness about this topic. Tonight we will cover this issue, discussing on what is going on, who is being affected, and lastly, how we can prevent the issue from getting worse. Today we have Dr. Dan with us in the studio, with us to tell us a little bit about yourself and the situation that's going on.
Thanks, Anthony. Currently, I have a PhD in ecology, which is a branch of biology that studies the relationships between organisms and their surroundings. In this case, it's humans and all of us and our supply of fresh water. I'm here basically to tell you what's happening in layman's terms and how we're interacting with the situation at hand and how we will in the future. Although I may not look it, I'm 55 years old and have 20 years of field experience in this field. So many of you are probably wondering what's happening. So although the water supply seems endless because we have oceans, rivers, and lakes all around us, the actual fact is that only a small portion is accessible to humans directly. I believe my colleague Bruce Ketrick said it best in his article, "Will There Be Water in Your Future?" Retrieved on December 2nd, 2014, where he said, only 1% of water is accessible and drinkable by humans, 97% is the oceans, which is all water, so you can't drink it, and then 2% is just frozen around the world. The most prominent example to date of the water drought is in the southwestern region of the United States, more specifically Lake Mead. They have been struggling for about 14 years for droughts and diminishing their supply of fresh water, which is unrivaled in 1,250 years, as said by my good friend Michael Weiss in the New York Times on December 1st. As you can see on the map, all these red circles are where the temperatures have increased in the past decade, and this is directly related to how much water is going into the ecosystem and back into the lakes, because if it's hot, then it will make the water evaporate before it gets into the ecosystem. Now that you know what's going on, you're probably wondering who it's affecting right now. Although mainly right now it's affecting the southwestern United States, it will slowly start to affect many more, including all of you in the audience today. Many scientists, including myself and my colleagues, think that this is just the beginning and just a peak what's going to happen in the future. There could be worldwide shortages of fresh water in the near future, say 50 to 100 years, and it can become breaking news like the story is today.
Excuse me for the interruption. Doctor, for a moment, we have a reporter live with a civilian right now who's being affected by the water shortage right now. Rachel, on to you.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm here live with Eileen in Colorado. Hi, Eileen. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Eileen, how long have you lived in Colorado?
I've lived here for over 20 years now.
That's awesome. Have you noticed how far the river has receded in the last decade?
Yes, I have, and it's awful. In fact, according to Thompson with popsci.com, retrieved December 1st, 2014, the river has in fact dropped 100 feet in the last 10 years.
Wow, that's a serious amount of water lost, especially because according to Byron with AccuWeather.com, access December 1st, 2014, the Colorado River serves as one of the most vital water resources in the U.S. 40 million people alone depend on this water. Does this concern you?
It certainly does, because as you know, 98% of Colorado is in a drought. And according to Desert Sun Red on December 1st, 2014, hotter temperatures and growing water scarcity would also force other changes in neighboring cities.
This is very true, Eileen. It is also a southwestern issue as a whole. because according to geophysical research letters, the high demand for water, the recent multi-year drought, and the projections of global warming have raised questions about long-term sustainability of water in the U.S. It's something to think about. Back at the station, I would like to show a video to further educate our viewers.
The Colorado River was named the most endangered waterway in the U.S. by American Rivers, a U.S. environmental protection organization. They cited overuse, drought, and outdated management as its top threats. American Rivers President Bob Irvin said, "The Colorado River is so overtapped that it dries up to a trickle before reaching the sea." The waterway runs through 7 states and into Mexico. It supports the daily needs of 36 million people and the irrigation of the 4 million acres of land that produce 15% of the nation's crops. Local flora and fauna and a large recreational industry also rely on its well-being. The American River Report also concluded that contamination by area mines is another significant hazard and put 5 rivers on the endangered shortlist. In North Carolina, the drinking water supplied by the Catawba River may be contaminated because of coal ash.
Hopefully that video has changed y'all's perspective a little bit. Now, Eileen, have you ever been to Lake Mead in Nevada?
Yes, I have, quite a few times. It used to be beautiful.
I bet. Have you visually noticed a difference in Lake Mead?
I actually have, Rachel. Over the years, it has dropped such a significant amount, the lake literally looks like there is a bathtub-like ring running around it. The idea of water being gone one day is sobering.
I bet it is. As you can see in our background, that's how high the water used to be, is at the white line, and that's how low it is now. Eileen, what do you know about reserved underground aquifers?
I know that Vegas abuses their water usage, and they are tapping into their reserved underground aquifers, which are there in case of an emergency. As far as I know from the research I have done, they have already used 18 months' worth. Once the reserve runs out, there is virtually no water left in the Southwest. They plan on using every last drop.
That is madness, people. There you have it, folks. The western supply of water is being depleted. Back to Anthony, who's with Dr. Dan, to talk about conservation efforts.
Thank you, Rachel. Now back to you, Doctor. I have a source I have acquired from December 2nd, 2014, from Climate Change and Freshwater Resources, the article in the National Resources Environment Journal stating, climate change is expected to lead to reductions in the water supply in most regions of the United States. What can be done to prevent further water shortage?
I do agree with your source, but they neglect to say some of the things that we can do to help mitigate the effects of the water consumption. The main source of wasting water is from large companies and factories. And in the past, they've cut their water consumption by 10 or even 20%. And I think we can get the government to make them instill to do it now. Because the next year they always revert to their original water consumption because they think the problem is fixed, but they're only looking for their profits that year and not the future of the whole entire world. Another thing that companies and factories can do is they can learn how to recycle their water that they use instead of using it for one specific job. They can use it for up to 4 or 5 different jobs and then toss it. But sadly, if the worst does come to worst, there is a type of filtration, a very sophisticated type of filtration that turns salt water into drinkable fresh water. Although it's very expensive and could lead to a shortage of, well, seawater in the very far future. That's all.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, America, for tuning in to our Evergreen News Report, where we discuss the diminishing supply of water in the USA and some ways we can help reduce our water intake. And remember, America, the Evergreen News is never looking brown, so neither should you.